Welcome to this episode of The Wisdom of Paramahansa Yogananda, brought to you by Self-Realization Fellowship, where each week you can receive inspiration and guidance from Paramahansa Yogananda's Kriya Yoga teachings. The subject of this talk is Living Supremely Well Now by Brother Tyagananda.
Good morning. It's very nice to see you all again. Today our subject is Live Well Now. Living supremely well now. And these are actually the words of our Guru founder, Paramahansa Yogananda, when already in these few sentences he gives us one of the secrets, one of the principles to live well, living in the moment, here, now. Guruji says, forget the past, it is gone from your domain. Forget the future, it is beyond your reach. As will be seen, the master also was a psychologist. And he explained, I've talked to thousands of men and women, they're struggling, they feel they're not living well. Why? Because they're trying to live both in the past, anxieties, regrets, sorrows of grief of the past, and in the future at the same time. And they're missing the beautiful moment of living here now. So forget the past, forget the future, control the present, live supremely well now. This is the way of the wise. Have you had this experience when you go away for a few days or weeks or a month, like in my case, then you come back home and there is something that really grabs your attention and you feel that you hadn't seen that before and it is particularly meaningful to you in that moment. And so I had that experience some nights ago when I came back to my ashram room here in the Lecturan ashram where we monks reside, and I went after putting aside my luggage, I went to my meditation corner. We monks all have an altar with the pictures of the gurus, as possibly most of you do. And on the altar, I had left this note that had been there now for several weeks. Even I had completely forgotten. That says, "Now you are with me." And so it is a reminder. And I used that for several weeks, months prior to my departure for this tour in Europe to remind me that each and every time we quietly sit down, we slow down, and we collect ourselves to meditate, as I was sharing with all of you who were here earlier for the guided meditation, it's not only that we are trying to connect with God, it's not only that we are trying to make the effort to seek God, to know the divine. Actually, the masters explain that on the other side, God, the Divine Mother, the Divine Beloved of the universe, wants us much more than we want her, him, and them. And so these words remind me that God and the masters are very happy when you and I, all of us, make time from our busy schedules to quiet ourselves and meditate, and God tells us, now you are with me. Don't you like these words? You know, it also helps us to make our yoga science meditation more intimate, more personal. Now, those of you who may have read the autobiography of a yogi, the life account of our Guru founder, Paramahansa Yogananda, you may remember these words. Actually, do you remember who said these words to who? Mahavatar Babaji arranged in such a way to draw back to his disciple, Lahiri Mahasaya, who at the time was already 33 years old, a householder, married with children. But Mahavatar Babaji had been his guru of Lady Masha in previous lives. So he remembered his great spiritual stature, where Lady Masha had been a direct disciple of Babaji in the Himalayas. And Lady Masha so was transferred in this office in the Himalayas, and he was roaming in the woods, and then he meets this saint, and Babaji touches him on the forehead, and he remembers, "You are my guru. You are the one who has loved me for incarnations, for lifetimes." And Babaji says, "The magic wand of your karma touched you and you were gone," referring to previous lifetimes. "But though you lost sight of me, never did I lose sight of you." And this we want to remember. Often, you and I, all of us, for in lifetimes, we wanted God and then we completely lost sight of her, Him. But God and the Masters never have lost sight of us. Patiently, month after month, year after year, I've watched over you, waiting for this perfect day when we can be reunited. Now you are with me. Aren't these words beautiful? So now we understand why I really copied them out. I placed them on my altar to remind me, no matter how good or not so good or bad our days may be, there is someone, capital S, who always wants us. There is someone who always deeply likes us. There is someone who truly, deeply, eternally, life after life, unconditionally tells us, "I love you, no matter what. Now you are with me." Just this can make our meditations much more meaningful, right? Something to look forward to, not just as a duty, as a mechanical thing to do, something else to put on your to-do list, but something that we really want to. Like when there is the joyous anticipation when you know that someone who really likes you, really loves you, is waiting for you. And then we, as human beings, as men and women, we tend to more naturally, spontaneously reciprocate that affection, that love, when we feel that someone truly cares for us and loves us. And that is God. Even behind your loved ones, behind husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, any family members, there is God who really wants us, the eternal lover. And so how do we reciprocate this affection, this eternal love and attention from God and the Masters and the Gurus? Because sometimes we may feel that God is far away. But the Masters, they're here. They're here with us, right? And we can see them. And they tell us, "I'm very happy that now you are with me." And we only have to tell them back, "Yes, I'm with you now." Now. The key word is now. Because this helps us to forget, as we said, what we are supposed to do tomorrow, next week, next month. How do we know that we're still there? And all the regrets, the sadness, the grief of the past no longer exists. Now I shall begin to love my God. As King David in the Psalms used to say, even after so many mistakes, so many bad things that he openly admitted, the great King David of ancient times, he would say, "What is past is past. Everything is gone. The only thing that matters to me now is my personal relationship with God. Now I shall begin to love my God." So this is the way we can and we should begin our meditations. I'd like to guide you now in a period of guided meditations together. And so let us take a moment to sit quietly with the spine erect, straight, tall, chest out, abdomen in. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Double inhalation. Tense the whole body. Hold the breath, hold the tension momentarily. Double exhalation. Release completely. One more time. Breathe in. Tense the whole body. Squeeze all the muscles. Release, relax. closed eyes, let us lift our gaze upward to focus it gently at the point between the eyebrows, in the middle of the forehead, the spiritual eye, the Christ consciousness center. Let us concentrate there. And quietly listen to these words of the Master. He's reminding us of the importance of setting aside a few times a day to dive into the silence, into the quietness, to be fully present right here, right now, to the Divine Beloved within us, around us, everywhere. The Master guides us into this brief meditation. 4 times a day, sit quietly in meditation and think with all the love and longing of your heart. I am with the infinite now. Father, reveal thyself. Reveal thyself. Strive to feel the peace of His presence. Bathe your mind and body in that peace. And you will be much more successful in life. The calm man doesn't make mistakes. When thousands of others are failing, he succeeds. You must be calm to be successful. Through the portals of silence, the healing sun of wisdom and peace will shine upon you. Everyone needs to let go of his worries and enter into absolute silence every morning, every night. At such times, try to persist for 1 minute at a time without thinking about your problems. Concentrate instead on the peace within. Concentrate for several minutes at a time on this inner peace. Next, think of some happy incident, dwell on it, and visualize it. Mentally relive the pleasant experience over and over again until you have discarded your worries entirely. When we have too much to do at one time, we become very discouraged. Instead of worrying about what should be done, just say, "This hour is mine. I will do the best I can." Live each present moment completely, and the future will take care of itself. Fully enjoy the wonder and beauty of each instant. Practice the presence of peace. The more you do that, the more you will feel the presence of that power in your life. And so now, each one of us silently, mentally, keeping the attention riveted at the spiritual eye, but also engaging the center of the heart, the center of feeling. Mentally talk to God. I am with you now. Bless me with your light. Bless me with your love. Right here, right now. I am with you now. And I know you are very happy that I am with you. Touch my heart. Touch my mind. Help me to feel your love in my heart. Bless me with your light. Bless me with your love. And now, as we chant the Om together, let us feel, clearly picture and visualize waves of peace, divine light, divine wisdom emanating from our own spiritual eyes to our hearts, to our soul, and all around us, everywhere. Om Shanti Peace. Amen. And so if you are interested in learning more the principles, the practices of cultivating that awareness, living a conscious life, being here and now in our daily life, this is the book that I really personally like a lot, Inner Peace, How to Be Calmly Active, Actively Calm. For example, the words that I've shared so far with you, the guided meditation, the words of Guruji on living supremely well now, the title, the topic for a service today, you will find them here in various chapters. So, inner peace. And generally, I've always loved reading the lives of great women, great men. How did they deal with this life? What did they do to live happy, to live well? And especially poets, mystics, saints, artists, musicians, it's fascinating lives. So I was reading again the life of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, this great American writer. And so, let me introduce. Usually, when do we truly learn to live well? When we are facing death or very difficult things in our lives or loved ones who are no longer with us. Then we are really shaken up. Oh, wait a minute, this is important, this is my life. How do I want to live? As the saying goes, it is now that we have to live. And we want to live well. Now, the happy men and women, the successful women and men, are those who have that awareness, wait a minute, not again, not another lifetime, lived unconsciously, passively, following bad habits, material inclinations that are getting me nowhere. This time I want to live well. This is important for me for my loved ones, for my family, for my legacy. And so these were the thoughts of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow when in 1838 he faced a deep crisis in his life. His young beloved wife died suddenly during childbirth. Here he was, already quite successful. He had traveled all over Europe. He had met some of the greatest poets and writers in Germany, England, Italy. He was from an affluent family. He was doing very well. He was building the family. And then his beloved wife dies at childbirth. So for a while he fell into a state of depression, and then he started writing again, and that's when he wrote that beautiful poem that very likely many of you, most of us know, the Psalm of Life. Actually, he originally entitled What the Heart of the Young Man Said to the Psalmist, because he was doubting everything. What's the point of living? What is this life? And so he wrote this beautiful poem. And there is this short stanza where he says, "Trust no future, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act. Act in the living present. Heart within and God overhead." It's fairly long, the poem. I'm only reading this passage, but I really encourage you to read it. A Psalm of Life. So you see, trust no future. Forget the future. However pleasant, attractive it may be, it's a trap. Let the dead past bury its dead. So people who loved us may no longer be with us, but we have to move on. We have to live well. Act in the living present now, heart within and God overhead. And when I read more about Longfellow, I realized that when he was in Germany, in Europe, he really loved this great German philosopher, writer, Wolfgang Goethe. Wolfgang Goethe had that very dynamic spirit of encouraging young people to create their life. He would say, in fact, these are Goethe's words, "Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now." Have you heard these words? These are also some words we want to tape and read again and again. Begin it. Whatever you can do or dream, do it. Do it now. Begin it now. Can you see all these great men and women use the word now? They don't want to hear who we were, the mistakes we have made. Who doesn't make mistakes? Again, I was mentioning to you earlier in the talk about this ancient prophet, the author of most of these beautiful psalms in the Bible, King David. Now, if you read his life, when he was young, he had the deep love for God. He led a very pure life. He was almost in ecstasy when he would pray to the divine. Then he became the king of this powerful kingdom empire with great wealth and all the wives. And he could not be satisfied. He was already married, but he fell in love with the wife, Bathsheba, one of his closest friends and general of his army, Uriah the Hittite. So David was extremely intelligent also and cunning, connived in such a way to have his best friend, Uriah, put to death. Why? Because he had become so infatuated with Bathsheba. They said the most beautiful woman at the time. And she became his queen, and she became the mother of Solomon, the next king. So, if you look at that, I wouldn't call what King David did very good karma, actually. It was pretty bad, very bad. But why do we remember him? Because he wouldn't allow his mistakes, and they were deep, or in Christian terminology you would say his sins. He wouldn't allow his mistakes to define him. And he would say, the past is gone, what I've done, I'm sorry for it, I will atone for it. But he would say, now I shall begin to love my God. Don't you like these words? We should remind ourselves, no matter what we go through in life, okay, I've done my best, and this is the outcome. And so from the mind, they're constantly restless to think, no, you should have done this, you have done that, how could you do that? Well, it's done. As they say, why crying on spilled milk. What's the saying? Something like that. Anyway, meaning what is done, it no longer exists. And what are people going to tell tomorrow, next week about me? Forget it all. It's not real. Also, you will discover no one is really thinking of you so much. It's our ego mind that makes us think we are so important. They have their own problems, right? It's not just you. It's not just us. We are very similar in that. So, act in the living presence, heart within. You have heard me before. Yes, we utilize the mind. We need the conscious mind, but sometimes the mind can trick us in all these thoughts of the past and the future. So, be more in the heart. Think less, feel more. Worry less. Appreciate more the present moment. Again, as Guruji says so beautifully, live each present moment completely. The future will take care of itself. Fully enjoy the wonder and beauty of each instant. The future will take care of itself. When I was a young monk, and we began our monastic life in the Encinitas ashram, close to San Diego, so I was assigned to take care of the gardens, the beautiful meditation gardens. I really love it. And I was organizing the teams of the other young men, the other young monks, to clean everything beautifully before we would open to the public. It was such a blessing to serve around the Hermitage. Those of you who have been there, it's very inspiring, where our Guru founder spent portion of his life. That's where he wrote the autobiography, and he was often in communion with the infinite. There's a beautiful view of the ocean. And so I took it very seriously, maybe too seriously, my job of planning. And I was making all these future plans and schedules. And Brother Premamoy, who was our house brother, our spiritual father, would you say, guiding us, tutoring us, coaching us, he noticed that I tended to worry too much about things that would happen next week, next month, next year. And so once we do meet regularly with our counselors to see how we are doing, and he said, Simone, at the time was still young monk Simone, before taking the monastic vows, he said, you're doing well, but you can do much better if you stop worrying about things that should have been done in the past, and if you restrain from your tendency to always want to plan. I always love to plan for the future. And he would use this expression, this sentence, you may have heard it. Let's cross the bridge when we come to it. Have you heard it before? It's simple, but it makes sense. Meaning, yes, we have to plan. Don't take me wrong. It's important to plan, to schedule our lives. And we see in our roadmap that eventually there's a bridge. We cannot cross it where we are now. So let it be. We'll cross the bridge when we come to it. And the moment I kept repeating that, I wrote it out in my personal diary, I felt much calmer. I felt happier, more peaceful. Why? Because I was living more in the present. We'll cross the bridge when we come to it. Now, to finish the story of King David, okay. Do you know what Sri Yukteswar said, the guru of our guru? When he would counsel many men and women who would go to him, I've done this, I've done that, I'm not very proud of my past, or God knows who have been in past lives. He would say, the vanished lives of all men are dark with many shames. Everything in future will improve if you are making the spiritual effort now. You see, making the spiritual effort now. This is the only thing that God and Masters wants us to focus on. I wouldn't say worry about, just concentrate on doing our best now. The vanished lives of all men are dark with many shames. Let's honestly, humbly admit it. You know, we may think, those of us who believe in reincarnations, yes, I was a princess, I was a prince in a past life. But the Master would say, if you only knew, if you only knew, you know, maybe we were I always loved sailing on the ocean. So a brother monk told me, yeah, possibly you were a pirate in a past life. And so how many wars we have been in, how many times we were born and died, how many people, yes, like King David, we all have this past dark with many shames, and it's all right. It is the way we learn. But in the eyes of the Divine Mother, who always looks at us lovingly, like the most caring mother, she knows this is the way we learn, this is the way we grow. Ultimately, also, the masters don't see people being killed and dying, or bad things or good things. There's nothing like that. There's only light. There's only light and shadow, like dreams. This may take a while to attain that realization, but we have to remind ourselves that the way sometimes our ego mind tells us about our lives is in negative terms. You are no good, you are bad, you made many mistakes. And the masters, the guru and God and Divine Mother, they don't even see that. They only see the pure beauty of our souls here now. Because the past, in a way, is not real, doesn't exist anymore. So why shouldn't we be a little nicer to each one of us? I've been doing a lot of counseling for years here, traveling all over, and I couldn't believe it. Extremely intelligent men and women that they hate themselves. They don't like themselves. So it's important to cultivate a healthy sense of, I accept myself as I am now. I'm doing my best. And we can do that when? How? When through our deepening efforts in meditation, we begin to feel that someone truly loves us right here, right now. How have you felt when someone in your life told you, I really love you, I really like being with you? You felt really good about yourself. You started liking yourself. That's what we want to do, especially with children, with young people. It's very important to express the love. This is the way we help one another. We build that spiritual fellowship, the foundation of true divine friendship. If you want to help your friends, don't let them dwell on their pasts or anxieties about the future. Hey, here, now, we have each other. We respect each other. We are supporting one another. We love each other. It's very important, isn't it? Because then we feel good. We feel better. We live in the moment. We start to like ourselves. Not in the egocentric, narcissistic sense, or those who spend, hours in front of the mirror, no. It's just we like the God within us. We are falling in love again with our own soul. And that's the most beautiful romance that you and I, all of us, as men and women, can experience in this life. And the masters are here to teach us just that. And so it begins in the morning, first thing in the morning. Let's not check the news. Let's not check texts or social networks. God. Practicing deeply God. When we were in Barcelona, in this very colorful city of northern Spain full of art, many musicians, artists were there. So the devotees who hosted us told us some interesting stories about the great cellist Pablo Casals. Have you heard? At one point, he was the greatest musician, cellist everywhere. So there is a story that when he was already in his late 70s, 80s, a friend of his went to visit him. He was staying in this beautiful house downtown Barcelona. It was close to 12 noon. And Pablo Casals opened his door. He was still in his pajama, just as if he had just gotten out of bed. And the friend said, Pablo, what are you doing? It's 12 noon. We said we were going out for lunch. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I got up early this morning at 6. And before doing anything, I just wanted to practice and practice my music. And so he had been practicing several hours. In fact, when they asked him, what is the secret of your success, Mr. Casals? He said, procrastinating. And the journalist said, what do you mean? Meaning, when I get up in the morning, I play music, I write the music, Everything else can wait. I don't talk to anybody. You see, that was his passion. And that's what made him great. And then they say, in 1957, at the age of 80, Casals was the subject of a movie short, A Day in the Life of Pablo Casals. The movie's director was Robert Snyder, and he was interviewing Casals, and he realized that at 80 years old, he was still dedicating 4 to 5 hours a day to practicing cello. Can you imagine? And the director said, Mr. Casals, why? Why are you still practicing? You are world famous. And Pablo Casals apparently said, well, I think I'm starting to make some progress. and Robert Schneider, he thought he was joking, was making a joke, but he was serious. He was really humble, saying, finally, now I'm 80 years old, practicing 4 or 5 hours a day. I think I'm making progress. Can you see his unswerving focus and determination? He loved what he was doing and his passion. Now, for us as yogis and yoginis, meditation should be our passion. The first thing in the morning, meditate. Let the world wait. Let's not check the news, particularly these days. People come to us, I'm anxious, I'm restless, I feel so full of negativity. Well, then when I ask, they are listening, watching the news, morning, noon, and night, when we should quietly go into the silence, morning, noon, and night, as the Master says. Then let the world wait. Let everyone else wait, right? Turn off the digital devices. Be with God. Remember what Divine Mother is telling you. I'm with you now. Will you be with me now? She's always asking that. How shall we respond, right? When you know that she loves you so much, why would we waste more time? As Guruji would say, the world will always have troubles and turmoils. There are always been wars and distractions. It's sad. We should pray for the people who are suffering. We should pray for peace and harmony in the world. But let's face it, it's the history of humanity, in case you have noticed yet. And it will continue for a while until we go to the higher ages. But until then, what is the point of spending so much time dwelling on the bad things of the world? Let's dwell on love. Let's dwell on peace. Let's dwell on the Divine Beloved who loves us, who wants us right now, not tomorrow. Right now. And I end with this story that has always meant a lot to me. It's a true story about another musician, Giacomo Puccini, the composer of many operas. I like to share this story because it's about doing our best to finish the uncompleted symphony of our lives. And then that's when we learn to live well. So each one of us has come here on planet Earth. Many of us, many of you who are here today, you have become acquainted to a greater or lesser degree with the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Some of us have studied the lessons. Many of us have taken initiation to Kriya Yoga. And the moment you become acquainted with the masters, the moment we reawaken on the spiritual path, this is when this divine spiritual work is restarted in our hearts and minds. And the masters, that's their job, to plant the seed of desire for God, desire for liberation in our hearts and minds. And then the Master says, will you finish the work that I started in your life? So that you can live well now, you can learn to live well now and in the future. And so there is a story of Giacomo Puccini, who had composed many beautiful operas. And he had started composing this opera called La Turandot, and then he was diagnosed with a terminal illness. And he felt that possibly he was not going to be able to finish this opera because he was going to die. So he called all of his students, his disciples, you would say. Among his students, there was Franco Alfano and Arturo Toscanini, who went on to become one of the greatest orchestra conductors. Even he came to the United States, the Metropolitan Opera House, I believe, in New York. So he called all of his students who were also his friends, and he said, I want you to promise me. I've started this opera, La Turandot. I'm feeling that I may die before I finish it. So I want you to promise me that if something happens to me, you will do your best to finish it. And so it was 1924, and after a few months, Giacomo Puccini died. And so these musicians tried to get together to finish the work, the opera that their master, maestro, had started. But they were very strong, creative, ego-based personalities, to put it mildly, as very strong, creative musicians can be. So they started fighting. They had all these thoughts, all these ideas, and they separated, even bitterly. And then one of them, the senior, Arturo Toscanini, called them one night all together and said, now, just for once in our lives, can we set aside our egos, our personal desires, our personal preference? Can we, out of the love, respect, and friendship for our own teacher, master, Puccini, can we work together harmoniously and finish what he has started? And that's what they did. And it took them nearly 2 years. And so in 1926, they had finished the last uncompleted portion of this opera, of the symphony. And they asked Arturo Toscanini, as the most senior student of Puccini, to direct the orchestra. And many of these musicians were also playing in this orchestra. And it was at the Scala Theater in Milano, northern Italy. And so they started playing, and it was beautiful. And it was going so beautifully, so harmoniously. Then Toscanini arrived to the point where Puccini had died, had stopped composing. And so this is a true story. Look it up. It's documented that at that moment, Toscanini, who was a very pretty rational, cool man, his eyes began to fill with tears, and he started crying. He was overwhelmed by the emotion, and he couldn't continue. So he stopped the orchestra. He stopped all the musicians, he turned to the audience, and he said, thus far the master wrote, and then he died. And wiping his tears, then he said, but his friends, his students, finished the work that he had started. So he picked up again the baton, he turned again toward his friends, musicians. They resumed playing for the last portion of that opera, the symphony. And then he ended. And those who were there at the time in April 1926 in Milano at the Scala Theater said there were maybe half a minute of complete deep stillness and silence at the end of the opera. And then the most thunderous loud applause started that lasted for several minutes. Some historians say even up to 8-10 minutes, which is a long time. Why? Because everyone in the audience, not only they appreciated the beautiful, inspiring music, but they realized this was a beautiful example of true friendship, love, of dedication to one another, of finishing the work that their teacher, their master had started. So now, can you see the symbolic meaning, the illustration in our own life? The masters, as I told you before, the guru has planted in our hearts the seed for liberation, for true divine happiness in God. This is the spiritual work, the divine work that only the masters can do in their own lives. But it is up to each one of us to complete the work. And in our minds, we have all these thoughts. They are like these Italian bright musicians fighting all one with the other, right? So we have to stop and say, now, for the love of the teachers, because of their love and affection and dedication to me, can I reciprocate that back to them by finishing the spiritual work that they have started in my life? Does it make sense? And it begins by, again, remembering about living well, doing our best to fully, completely live each present moment completely now, right here. So please close your eyes, and as we end, listen again to these inspiring, beautiful words of the Master. Live each present moment completely, and the future will take care of itself. Fully enjoy the wonder and beauty of each instant. Practice the presence of peace. The more you do that, the more you will feel the presence of that power in your life. Forget the past. It is gone from your domain. Forget the future. It is beyond your reach. Control the present. Live supremely well now. This is the way of the wise.
This has been a production of Self-Realization Fellowship, a non-profit organization founded by Paramahansa Yogananda in 1920. For more information about Self-Realization Fellowship and Paramahansa Yogananda, please visit yogananda.org.